So as ever, the Cybermen are back. Duh, 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 duh. But then again, did the Cybermen ever really leave? Moffat's contribution to the Cybermen that they are an inevitable, ever-present threat, that wherever there will be people, there will be Cybermen, is a gorgeous sentiment and one that puts my whole canon brain at rest. Thank God this video will be 5 times easier, but no shorter. The amount of Cybermen appearances, my God, that's like cataloguing every appearance of Doctor Who in Doctor Who. Their timeline is anything but linear. Their mythos is built backwards off a really simple but great premise. And whilst the Doctor Falls is in love with Cyberman lore, it's also the story that tells us that Cybermen evolve like Pokemon through different forms. So maybe don't go with that wholesale. The Cybermen are really tricky. They've been around forever, the design changes every few years, some idiot gave them rocket boots and time travel, making them one of the most ambiguous and head-scratching villains in the show's history. Just know that they are scattered all through our past, at the dawn of time and everywhere in the future. So yeah, we've got that to look forward to. Across multiverses and parallel worlds and what-if worlds. Think of a time period and they've more than likely done a Cyberman story there. Even the land of fiction, these boys get around. And although they are very simple villains, they actually have a lot less consistency than I had once thought. Motives, design, weaknesses, hell, this one's sassy. And this one was a companion. Cybermen, what's the point? The chronological history of the Cybermen offers a great running commentary of what British fears of technology, uniformity and society look like. The Cybermen, though an incredible murky concept for the 60s, is just pretty blatant technophobia. Now, that's still interesting, but the idea would have to develop. And that it did. It would later become much more familiar as a sci-fi variation on zombies. Another iconic monster always used as metaphor. Other countries use zombies to reflect paranoias of, say, consumerism, overpopulation, or, most of the time in America's case, a wet dream scenario where you get to kill people and justify the Second Amendment with none of those inconvenient moral legal qualms. We don't have that. We don't have any of that. But what we do have is a fear of the digital age, a fear of body horror, fears of brainwashed militarization as real-world wars are happening, and the ancient, deep fears of desecrating the sanctity of death. That last one is the best because it's the cruelest. The horror of somebody you used to know as something so intimately relatable, terrifyingly personal, and what sci-fi has always been best at. When these guys entered the show in '66, Doctor Who took off the kiddie gloves. Good stories should remind us that when we look at one Cyberman, we're looking at a bastardization of stolen limbs and a piloted brain that used to belong to a dead man or woman. Otherwise, they're just silly foot soldiers. For this reason, with such a stark, nasty concept, you can find some really deranged designs. This is actually my favourite, and that's barely even a Cyberman. This one looks like Alien and Predator. It's a card that the classic series seemed too hesitant to play, but now in the years since, we've seen their true fear factor return, even claiming beloved characters like Jack Tyler and Bill Potts. But somehow sadly, not James Corden. Where is the justice? The only way to make them truly horrifying isn't in mass numbers or on an unstoppable new upgrade, it's by returning to the core concepts. It's stories only with a handful of Cybermen that are usually the most effective. In Silver Turk, 2 of them are stuck in Victorian London trying to desperately survive and regroup. In Human Resources, they're an abandoned unit under attack. You feel sorry for them. They have little tear ducts in their eyes. These are the saddest boys around, and they don't even know it. They are a walking tragedy. And I was thinking the other day about what makes them feel so different to, say, the Daleks. What do they embody? Fascism, real-world prejudice, of course. The Daleks are always portrayed as a force that you can fight and make go away. And the Daleks and fascism may always return, but the Cybermen, like our fears of tomorrow, never left us. They're a constant. And like the Doctor himself once said, there are corners of the universe that have bred the most terrible things. Things that act against everything we believe in. Things there must be like us. Wait a minute, no, that's not the line. Ah, shit, they got him! Okay, let's get started on this ridiculous timeline. The 10th planet, spare parts, well enough in time. All make great cases at the genesis of the race. Mondas has a mental multiplicity. Known as the original account of the Cybermen, it was originally a water world. In the World Shapers, we actually learn that the earliest documented cyber forms, that water world, was Marinus. The first cyber forms were originally the Vord, fusing themselves inside bodysuits to advance the species in the name of telepathic synergy. Bizarrely, the planet we know as Marinus changes their name to Mondas, which is also our Earth's twin all along. Elsewhere on the planet, this new cyber trend really kicks off as early Sea Devils and Lizard Kings capture a time-travelling Cyberman from the future and use the tech to create a hybrid species of cyber apes. We never hear about these guys again. I hope they're doing well. Meanwhile, the future Cybermundasians catch wind on this and land a colonial expedition where they actually awaken the Lizard King ancient evil, Rayleigh, and come under attack by 4 separate species across 4 different stories. It goes great, as this first legion are completely wiped out by the Golgoth. I'm not making this up, I swear. 2,000 years later, the idea clearly manifests again as an Earth-like people are forced underground by inhospitable living conditions. But that's okay, because then some go to space, where they also live in inhospitable living conditions. Unfortunate. Suffice to say, both branches of Mundasians independently of their own accord become Cybermen, as witnessed and arguably caused by the 5th and 12th Doctors. A scan of Five's Time Lord brain even plays a part in the construction of the original design. Five loves this idea and angrily reacts by killing all of them.
There should have been another way.
Elsewhere, in a parallel 21st century Earth, a slightly more advanced London sees a billionaire tech CEO maniac attempt to force humanity into new metal bodies, mechanizing by way of updates. CEOs aren't your friends. As effective as this takeover is, it's actually taken down in record time, a very short-lived cyber invasion, as the Preachers lead the resistance against all of the other factories around the globe. Here's Mickey leading an aerial assault in Paris. I miss these Flash games. Defeated on their homeworld, 5 million Cybermen infiltrate their version of Torchwood and manage to trap themselves in hell. And by sheer luck alone, they stumble across technology that allows them to come to our world, who then for months infiltrate every single landmark and British soap opera. Okay, cool, great plan. Immediately co-opted by not 2, not 3, but 4 different parties. In retrospect, this is a hilarious string of really bad luck, leading the Cybermen to basically improvise and declare war on this new Dalek species, of which they already weirdly know about. Which, as you can imagine, goes great. Torchwood 1 is totally raided in the battle, killing Martha's identical cousin and Yanto's cyber girlfriend, who, as we all know, we're going to famously punch a pterodactyl. Chris Chibnall. In a stunning bit of Deus Ex Machina, the Doctor sucks the Cybermen back into the Hell Void where they can never escape. Except for a disassembled Cyberman reactivated in a kid's shed, one who fell into our world where Doctor Who is a TV show, the newly converted Cybermen with no Void stuff on them who the Doctor sends back to the time of dinosaurs where they're eaten by a fucking T-Rex, and then they just bust out anyway. In 1851, they time travel and go recruiting for a new Cyberlord and build a Victorian steampunk Gundam that nobody ever remembers. I wonder if that was the same week as the undocumented giant T-Rex in the Thames. Nah, Moffat retconned it in just his 4th ever story. The last sighting of these Cybers types was likely in Rome in the year 312, where 11 made them believe in God and leave the planet, sending them off into space on missionary work to spread the word of their new religion. Man, these guys have had a weird go of it. The Cybers designs appears a lot in the far, far future, but it's a stretch to say that they're the same dudes. More of them do pop up from time to time, but it's only because they're crap pilots and seem to crash their spaceships like all of the time. Sometimes causing commotion in a Colchester shopping centre, and other times causing the extinction of the dinosaurs. When are we getting our converted Adrix story, Big Finish? Anyway, it's around this time period they get access to time travel and start feeling a little bit nostalgic. Rewriting their own timelines, guys, leave that to the big boys. Then there's the Telos lot, an ancient civilization who just sought straight old-fashioned immortality. Just to make things complicated though, they decided to ditch their dope Egyptian tombs and take refuge on Mondas, making future Cybermen pretty indistinguishable in origin, and maybe it's better that way, as even characters in the Hooniverse seem to be confused over it. What we do know is that an offshoot called the Faction formed on Planet 14, which was supposedly also called Marinus? What? Okay, cool. So the Cybermen left Mondas to go to Mondas. Got it. Whatever their deal, these are Cybermen from the invasion. They're eventually killed by Jamie McCrimmon in a self-sacrifice suicide attack, something that has not yet been contradicted by any medium since. In the 2010s, another completely disconnected bunch attack Unit, this lot from a whole other place in the multiverse, radicalized by virtual reality. With a design like that, you might think that Unit without the Doctor is in trouble. Not remotely, no, not at all, they lose. And it's only when Missy makes an obedient army of them that they become a threat. Godspeed, Cyber Brigadier. Godspeed. Now, despite the 50 invasions prior, it's only in the far future that humans decide to acknowledge the scary metal men stealing their loved ones and fight back, leading to what we know as the imaginatively named Cyber Wars. An interplanetary alliance to keep them under control, mostly made matters worse as they became bigger in number and more advanced than ever. And started doing this. Ugh. Humanity, though, does win via glitter guns, destruction of an entire galaxy, and Warwick Davis. Eventually, the Siberia decides humans will always be humans and resist them, and moved on, deciding on conquering instead. This is why you see Cybermen with those stupid big guns, and why in the classic series they don't seem that fixated on upgrading. So the Cybermen go hardcore. This also goes well, as by the 40th century the Cybermen were declared officially extinct. They suck, but they're best when they suck. Using time travel, the last cyber fleet returns to the 2000s to convert the Earth via propaganda, except this time they're really good at it. Just before their victory, the Doctor looked into the time vortex and turned them into rain. I miss when that was an option. And last of all, the final recorded forms in history are strange. It turns out that humanity was set on course to accepting technosapiens anyway, albeit with post-humans retaining their own thoughts, but through all their struggles, humans quite happily digitized themselves. So, now that the Cybermen are out of a job, what do next? Well, mostly, they become politicians, eventually becoming the pacifist cyberlords by the 108th century. Fully established as a major political power, finally they transcend into beings of pure energy, redeeming sentient life by becoming united and identical instead, in the name of peace. Ridiculous. I love this silly show and its nonsense continuity. But hey, I'm not complaining. I'd love to see it. All in all, I give the Cybermen a B+. The concept has legs, and it will have legs forever as long as there are paranoias about society. The Cybermen are flexible. They are the go-to villains for metaphor. But it's a potential that's all too rarely capitalized on. I feel like every few years the Cybermen come back with a new design and everyone's like, whoa, yeah, now they're gonna do the Cybermen right. And then they'll just say the same thing again in 3 years. I think they're always cool, especially when they're lame. Like when it's a dude who can't see out of the mask. That's pretty sick too. There's a real horror to them, and that's why my favourite is probably Ghost in the Machine. It's a short story written entirely from the perspective of the logical processor of a Cyberman brain. It is truly tragic, twisted sci-fi, and it's only about 10 pages long. There's also Supremacy of the Cybermen, a story that basically undoes every single thing I've spoke about in this video, so that can wait for another time. The Cybermen have converted everything from dogs to Slovene, from mermaids to man, but most of all they converted 11-year-old me into a sci-fi fanboy. To play us out, here is the worst thing I've ever seen. Beware the lone Cyberman.